Welcome back, everybody, to the Renaissance Humanism podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Riley. In today's episode, I will be discussing the union with England and Scotland and why that union has been so successful. One of the reasons for it being successful is because the union itself wasn't based upon exploitation. It was based upon England trying to get Scotland from being an invasion point for France to use to invade the Kingdom of England and also be the backdoor for any of England's continental enemies to actually attack the Kingdom of England directly. As you can see from this map, for people that don't know, England is an island nation, and its principal enemy for nearly 1,000 years was this lot down here, the Kingdom of France. And historically, the Kingdom of France had a much larger population than the Kingdom of England. For France, its population tended to be around 25 million. For England, historically, until the 18th century, used to be around 5 million, 5 to 6 million. By the late 18th century, early 19th century, it got past 8 million. So historically, it was a much more less populated nation than its main rival, France. And for Scotland, ever since England was created by King Athelstan. He was the grandson of Alfred the Great. Alfred the Great ruled as king of the Anglo-Saxons, king of the Saxons, from 871 until his death in 899. Then his son Edward the Elder from 899 until his death in 924. And he was succeeded by his son Athelstan, who was the king of the Anglo-Saxons in 924 until he conquered north of England around the area of York and upwards to the Scottish border. He conquered Scotland. Well, he conquered northern England, I should say, not Scotland. He conquered northern England, and then he became the first king of the English in 927 AD. With that accomplishment, he united the petty kingdoms of England into one kingdom. Because of England, unlike Scotland, it's got loads of mountains. Because of those mountains, it's very hard to have a much larger population. It's more suitable for the grazing of animals and horses and cows. And the same also applies to the Principality of Wales as well, because Wales, that's full of mountains as well. It's very hard to have a sizable population. It's not as suitable as England. It's flat, it's green, it's a pleasant land. It's much more easier for human flourishing and to have a much larger population. To give you some perspective, when England signed the Act of Union with Scotland in 1707, the English population was over 6 million people. For Scotland, its population was around 400,000 people. That just gives it some perspective. And also because the Union itself wasn't based on exploitation, it was just as a means for England to start spending much money on its military, on its army, and focus on spending it on its navy. But then the Union with Scotland, again, it stopped Scotland being used as an invasion route into England. And this started with the Union of Crowns when King James the First of England. Well, it was first King James the Sixth of Scotland became King James the First of England in 1603. That created the Union of Crowns, and then the political union finally happened in 1707. Also, Scotland got to maintain their own independent church as well. For Scotland, whenever the King of England or Scotland passes the borders between England and Scotland, they change religion. For one of the kings in Scotland, he is Presbyterian. That's a branch of Protestantism. When he's in England, is and Wales is part of the Anglican Church, the Church of England. That's one way they kept to keep their own religion as well. They also got to keep their own education system since the Act of Union 1707. The Scottish education system had been separate from the English education system. Uh, they've also got to keep their own laws as well for Scotland. For their legal system, they use the continental model, the European model. They use the Roman model as well. They use Roman law. That was more of a centralized mechanism of law, I should say. For England, it had its own independent legal system that developed independently in the Kingdom of England during the 12th century. There's English common law, particularly developed under the reign of King Henry I from 1100 to 1135, and his grandson, King Henry II, from 1154 until his death in 1189. That's the origins of English common law. It's basically law from the bottom up rather than the top down. that the laws are more being created at a more devolved level. It's created to serve the needs of the people. So again, England and Scotland different legal systems as well. What the Scottish Nationals are fighting for is for more cultural independence, I would say. But they are campaigning officially to be part of the European Union, to be part of Greater Europe in a political union. Any union in with Europe would see the Scotland marginalised because it has a much smaller population of only around 5.3 million people. No, I'm mistaken about that. 5.3 million. I've got the numbers one way around. About 5.3 million people compared to the actual continental Europe as well. It's tiny. So they're marginalising that. And within the Union itself, the Greater Union of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, Scottish voice has actually been overrepresented in Westminster. So politically and financially, they're much better off being part of the Union as well. This pretty much covers this topic as well. Again, the Union, just to reiterate, the Union between England and Scotland has been so successful because it's not a union of exploitation. It's a union basically trying to get the Scots stop invading England and also to secure the back door into England, which used to be Scotland. That covers everything. I'm going to leave my Medium blog link in the description as well. You can find my articles, which I've written. I've got articles on there that are behind a paywall and other articles on there that are free as well. In regards to the paywall, if you become a Medium member, you get 10 articles a week that are free. They're free for anybody to actually click on and read through as well. If you wish to become a Medium member, it's only £5 a month. And you got plenty of content there. It's free. They got free content there, content you got to pay for, and they also do the content where you can actually listen to actually the articles as well that's been written. If you don't like reading or you're on a treadmill, you want to listen to something, you can find some quality content in there, not just from myself, but from other creators as well. Thanks for listening. Please take care and peace out.